Well, we're now joined by Palestinian affairs analyst Osama Nazzal. Osama, what kind of information are you getting from your contacts on the ground? Obviously, this happened quite recently and information is still coming out.
Yeah, it is one massacre after another. We are now talking about Jabalia massacre, where 400 Palestinian civilians killed and injured. We are talking about Anserat massacre. We are talking about Ashati massacre. So we are talking about hundreds of Palestinian children and women being killed by the Israeli shellings and by the Israeli bombardment. We are talking about whole squares in Jabalia refugee camp and other parts of Gaza Strip being fully destroyed, fully demolished by the Israeli occupation forces. And we feel that such kind of massacres is not going to stop, as Israel announced that it's going in its way, either to end the existence of all the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, or Gaza surrenders and accepts of the Israeli dictations and the Israeli conditions.
Can you give us a bit more information about Jabalia? How densely populated is the camp? What kind of buildings are there and how many people live there?
You know, when we talk about Jabalia refugee camp, first of all, most of the population of the Gaza Strip are refugees, and that's why it is overcrowded area. We are talking about the 360 square kilometers for 2.3 million Palestinians. And what is more important for the people to know, that these people are the grandchildren of the Palestinians who were expelled by Israel in 1948. Their ancestors had gone through the experience of the first Palestinian Nakba, and these grandchildren are going through the experience of the many Nakbas imposed by Israel on them. Jabalia camp is a refugee camp. It is a few square kilometers. Tens of thousands of Palestinian refugees are living there. It is over crowded, and any bomb or any bullet falling there, it kills people. So what about the shelling? What about the missiles? What about the rockets that are provided by the American President Joe Biden to war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu, the current prime minister of the occupation state of Israel? We are talking about hundreds. All of them, by the way, all of them are children and women. This is not heroism for any army, yes, to kill women and children, to kill civilians, either in the kitchens or in the bedrooms of their houses. This is not heroism. This is a pogrom. This is a massacre. This is genocide. And this exposes really how inferior the international community is, as it keeps silence on such pogroms and massacres. We saw how the Europeans and the Americans acted when Russia attacked Ukraine. They all raised their voices against Russia, while now they are rejecting any ceasefire, and they are providing more weapons for Israel to kill more Palestinian children and Palestinian women. We are talking about 10,000 Palestinians killed until now, and they are still at the start of their war, as the criminals of war in Israel declare, with regard to the ground military invasion into the Gaza Strip. What is demanded? Are they going to kill 2.3 million Palestinians in the Gaza Strip? We saw here where I live in the occupied West Bank today morning, they killed a 61-year-old man in the town of Tubas in northern occupied West Bank while he was with his family and with his grandchildren in his house. It's a genocide. And the Americans and the Europeans, I mean the governments, not the peoples, are supporting that unashamedly. That's not a humanity, no value, no morality, really, as if they are living in the dust age. We can't conceive, we can't grasp what's happening on the ground. What are the Palestinian people a surplus on this ground, on this earth? And so extermination of all of them is something ordinary and usual. The people are frustrated, disappointed, and we call on all nations, on the Arabs, on the Muslims, on all those who love justice and peace, to take to streets and to press their governments and to press their parliaments and help stop this massacre. The victims are innocent children, innocent women, innocent men. Israel claims that it is targeting the armed groups of the Palestinian fighters in Gaza. This is not true. It's not true at all. If you go to the hospitals, if you go to the clinics, you see that all of the victims, all the people who are in the mass graves now are children. We are talking about the 3,500 Palestinian children, about the 3,000 Palestinian women killed in this pogrom, in this massacre. And the Americans in the White House yesterday, like boasting, no ceasefire. There will be no ceasefire. What's no ceasefire? Do you accept this to happen to your children, to your people? Is that plausible? We blame our brothers, the Arabs and Muslims, who keep silent on that and who don't press governments to intervene now and to kick out the Israeli ambassadors, because peace can't be established with war criminals, with killers of children and women. It's no way to accept that.
Osama Nazzal, thank you so much for speaking to us there. With your input, there's certainly information definitely still coming in on this strike on the refugee camp in Jabalia. Information about the death toll, about wounded, but thank you for your input there.